Hey, what's happening, you guys? Welcome to episode 19 of the Core Podcast. I'm Kirby Downey.
I'm Jonny Harrison.
Always miss it. You always nearly miss it. And we got Dan Wagner with us. How you doing, Dan? Can you hear us, Dan?
I'm no expert, Kirby, but it doesn't look like it.
He's having a few little...
Dan's having his technical difficulties.
Put that in our little chat there.
We've got a nice early shout out from Mike, though, in the chat. Happy Sunday, Mike. Hope you've got a beer.
Good call.
Can you guys hear me?
Can now.
Awesome.
All right, excellent. How you doing?
Good. Just adjusting some audio levels here. It's Sunday. I'm rusty still. I don't dust this stuff off till Monday morning, you know?
Oh, yeah. Leave it untouched over the weekend.
Johnny sounds good. Kirby, you're a little quiet. I don't know if that's on my end or what, but
no, Kirby's got this fancy mixer set up, Dan. That's what it is.
and every time it's like I don't touch it, and every time it's different.
We got our custom URL now, Dan, and Kirby thinks he's a pro. Yeah, Mike's giving us similar feedback, Kirby. You're letting the side down here.
How is that?
That sounds good.
Excellent.
I'm sure Mike will confirm for us that it's all right.
I can go a little bit higher with my... There we go. So yeah, Dan, he runs the basically the whole of the SolidWorks user group network around the world, which is a mad thing. You
sounds big when you say it like that, Kirby. I don't know.
It's a hell of an introduction, Dan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and if you don't know what the SolidWorks user group network or SWUGN is, it's just it's a group of users who are very passionate about the community that run meetups where people can gather, network, learn from each other, and that I am a user group leader. Johnny's now one as well. Where's my thumb? He's also a user group leader now up in the north of England. There are tons of user groups all over the world. Most of them are in the States, but
right.
Dan's working hard to change that.
That's one of the things too, Kirby, has really surprised me this year, especially since World, is the volume of people outside of the States that are jumping on board with user groups. And it's crazy. It's a lot of people. And actually we kind of have the problem of keeping up with the requests at this point, which is like a good problem to have. It's awesome. So yeah, it's been a cool ride so far.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
got to be
a lot
nice
of fun.
to have some expansion now.
Yeah,
it's always when you go to World and you see all the people that are passionate in a room, and then we've got to split into our regions, and there's just like a handful of us in the corner.
right.
Everybody's just chatting and that stuff, and we want to help grow that little group of internationals.
Yeah, and for me, the interesting transition for me was I worked for a small reseller for many years in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania region, right in the States, and that was kind of my bubble or my region. And you get really familiar with your network and the people who use SolidWorks around you, like what the biggest companies are. You usually know the 5 or 10 like biggest companies right near you that use the software. And then as soon as you kind of get exposed to the whole shebang, the whole network, you realize how big this thing really is. And there's those pockets of users, those big companies everywhere. They're all over the place. So that for me has been one of the really, really craziest things so far in the last few months.
Well, I mean, 5 years ago, before I got involved with the user group network and anything to do with SolidWorks, I knew no one kind of in the SolidWorks side of things, especially in the States. And 5 years later, I know countless people, and I'm always meeting new people.
Right.
And I think that's always fun when you get to meet new people and people that you can help.
Definitely.
Throughout.
And if nothing else, that you have some form of common ground with those people, right? It looks like our good buddy Sean's joining us. Sean, that's a lot of blue. I feel like I got a lot of green on today, and Sean's got a lot of blue. Man. My beer is even green.
Are you feeling a bit low there, Sean? You feeling a bit blue? Monday's coming.
Sean, I've already got a confession, Sean. I wanted to call this the Slim Shady episode, but Kirby vetoed it.
Yeah, I made cover art and everything.
Wow, that looks nice. Look at that.
Nah, man.
Yeah, you sent me black and white pictures, and I was like, I have to do something with this.
Yeah.
We both did. We both sent you black and white pictures.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Well, it's like the only time you guys haven't shown the Philly picture in the background. It's so weird because Dan and I are pretty much both from Philly.
Yes, that's also quite exciting because you're both from Philly. Johnny and we're huge fans of Philly. We're there for 30 minutes, but
we enjoyed that half an hour.
Yeah.
Been there, got the T-shirt, seen the sights. What more is there than the airport?
Well,
You two can tell us.
the sites was on a big billboard in the airport.
Yeah.
Well, Dan and I always say that we actually want to go to the UK, maybe for more than 30 minutes.
More than 30 minutes would be good.
You guys got to come for a good week.
Considering the plane ride, we probably need to stay a little bit.
Yeah, like I would at least
Yeah,
want to
start down here and then up north. You can call it a work trip because we're
Johnny,
both user group leaders.
When's the first official user group meeting, Johnny?
Oh, Dan, why you put me on the spot like that? Let's go with the words in planning.
That's fine. Hey, that's good. That's all good.
No, me and Kirby are on about doing some sort of like UK user group chain. So Kirby will hold his first,
Okay.
then Luke, and then me. So we'll sort of build up to my new group launching that way and get a bit of traction behind it.
Okay.
That's the plan with the SWUGN is to try and do something with that.
Okay. Build right up to SWUGN. That's awesome. That's cool.
During SWUGN because I'm chatting with Todd and seeing if we can work that out.
Okay.
But if that doesn't work, I sent Johnny a bunch of contacts and that, and like this is what I love about the network is everybody's just helping each other.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got another meeting with Heather at the back end of the month about some other stuff as well. So I'm sure it'd be good to chat to her and get the ball rolling on that sort of front as well. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's great. I mean, the reason I was asking is if it's like, hey, Sean, if we could find some excuse to fly across the world for Johnny's first big user group meeting. I mean,
do you want me to hold off so you can have some expenses? Is that what you're asking for?
Well, just before COVID, I'd arranged with Rachel, and she was going to do a tour and visit customers and that stuff. And my first user group meeting was when Richard came over. And he was doing a tour of the user group. So, if you're able to arrange that kind of thing, you can do some big week extravaganza.
Yeah, that's also been something else that has been so interesting for me is the lack of travel, because this network and everything we do, whether it's champions or user groups or whatever, I think is all about face-to-face, right? It's about meeting people and going to events and seeing each other.
Yeah.
And there's been none of that. So
that's how me and Kirby met originally. So
there's going to be such a pent-up demand for that, I think, when things start turning back on, which who knows, obviously, really when that is, but hopefully this year, right? Hopefully we do something this year.
Yeah.
We hope so.
So Sean, he runs the new Solidworks Champions program, which is kind of a new initiative to help those individuals who really strive in the community and really are passionate, and helps them connect and network as well. Above the user group, so it's all about community. Today's episode, kind of thing. I see Curious Cat Online says the core get the most desired SolidWorks community crossover. It's all about community. It's always fun. It's always fun because like Johnny and I, what we did with our long stream during World was more about getting people in a room to chat to each other and network, and that's what I get most out of my user groups. Meetings, and not having them in person, you don't get that opportunity. But if you're able to come this side, you can then start to connect with all those people that you've built over the past year with your Champions program.
I think that's something we got to look at in the future as well, Kirby. Maybe we do like a quarterly open stream sort of thing and get all the faces back together and have a catch up with everyone that hasn't spoke for a few months.
Yeah. I mean, you guys did that for World, and I thought that was really cool. Like, I think at some point you guys probably had like 10 people on at the same time.
Then we had a lot of people on.
I mean, that was pretty cool. Like you said, Johnny, like I think that's something that you know, is definitely translatable even if we're in non-conference
Yep.
times.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was another interesting thing too about World, was trying to find ways to still be social and still connect with everybody. The one thing that we did, which I had a really good time, and I think a lot of other people did as well, was those 2-bit circus like trivia social events in the evening. And they were cool. They were different, right? And by different, I mean they were run by a vendor or run by somebody outside of SolidWorks. So it was kind of like we're putting it in their hands. We could kind of sit back and relax a little bit and actually enjoy it. Weirdly or strangely enough, 2 weeks ago I attended. It was either 2 weeks ago or last week. I attended DriveWorks user group meeting. So DriveWorks has their own user group meeting now, which is really cool. And Heather and Bridie were using something called Kahoot. You guys ever used that before?
Yeah, we used to use it at uni. I know it sounds like you're paying a lot of money to sit and play a game, but it works.
It was awesome. I was like, this is exactly like 2-bit circus, but you got to create the questions, the system, how the questions progressed, and then you are basically the host. And we liked it enough that we actually turned around and got a license of it internally, so we could try to start turning it around and use some things. So Kirby and Jonny, really, for a local user group leader here, I was just talking to him on Friday afternoon. I said, even for your next meeting, let's just try and make a Kahoot. And I'll run it. I'll join the meeting and I could run it and just see if it's something like we could come up with trivia questions. You could do giveaways. You could do whatever you want. And it's just, again, since we're all still stuck in this virtual thing, it's like it just gives you something else to do, which was cool.
Yeah, I mean, at all of my user group meetings, there's always a sponsored prize and a bunch of other cool SolidWorks stuff. And that's kind of right at the end if that gets raffled off for people. And like my groups are small enough that basically everybody gets something, whether it's a SolidWorks pen or all the way to an Amazon Alexa.
Right.
Don't talk.
I know. Yeah, that's the thing.
Hope mine doesn't start piping up in the background.
You're talking to your dog or Sarah there, Kirby.
Your house gets like infiltrated by these things, right? So upstairs, I don't even want to talk loudly because they'll hear me. But like, we have Google in one room, and then Amazon is in the next, and then like your phone's always in your pocket, listening in. It's like, it's crazy, right? You can't. I feel like, I don't know. I'm under surveillance here.
We were talking about one of my friends just got a hot tub, and now I'm getting tons of hot tub ads on Facebook, and I'm just like, this is great. I want one.
Yeah.
And Sarah's like, no.
She's keen on it as well. I found these Swedish ones that you kind of like light a fire inside the water in this like metal bin.
I've seen them. They're good.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's like a hot to land fire pit.
Yeah, they're like DIY kits, and you build it yourself. And they're quite affordable.
Hey, Sean, how about this weather, man? It's like it's the nicest day, guys, in 6 months or so. I don't even know what, but it's unbelievable. It's like it's actually been nice.
Yeah, it's like 60 degrees outside,
which for us right now might as well be 100.
18 degrees.
Yeah.
I got 12 at the weekend, Kirby. I went to the beach.
Like I took my dog for a walk around the block, and the sun was shining. I was great. On the way back, I went past a shop and I got more drinks and some ice cream and that to sit out in the backyard. Walked out in the backyard and it was clouds. It was like, damn it. So I had nothing else to do but sin, and I sat outside and sanded. Jonny, I did some sanding today.
What did you sand?
My Iron Man helmet.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I saw you were printing that. Did it actually finish on the third try, or?
Eventually, yeah. It was 36 hours.
36 hours. Yeah.
It was pretty sketchy, but I eventually got it right.
I've been working on this model. I've been trying to use X-Design and X-Shape for different things. And one of the things is I was letting I have a 5-year-old, and I'm letting him kind of like push and pull and move some things around on screen. And we're trying to make different designs, different iterations of a boat to see if one would float better than the other, and hold, like he wants to put Matchbox cars in the boat while it's cruising around and see how many it could hold and stuff. So I did print. I don't have it in front of me. I should have brought it down, but I printed one on Friday that came out pretty awesome. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Do we have any way to share screenshots on here, Kirby?
At the bottom it says share, or if you're using OBS virtual webcam, you can put yours as a virtual webcam.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right in the,
here, I'll do that.
right in the center. I can shuffle you around.
Dude, don't keep swapping people. I get confused.
I know.
I think it's sick.
Yeah.
Put Dan and Sean back the right way around.
Well, I mean, while you're doing that, I can play a little game that we usually play. It has a little intro song. It's got a jingle. We got jingles.
No, I've got a.
Bing. Shing. What are they drinking?
That was nice, guys.
What
That's-
are they thinking?
Honestly, that's why I was a little confused when I came in, because there was just music here. And then I checked the live stream, and I was like, oh, and I came back to this, and it was already late. Anyway, can you see my screen now, Kirby? Is that showing?
I have to put it in.
Kirby will do some
Okay.
swapping.
So this was like a couple iterations of it, and it's got some funny, like, and Kirby, as a 3D printer enthusiast, you already probably see a couple issues with it, but like
Oh, yeah.
there's there's way too much overhang back here, but obviously that's fine. It's just me.
Dan, compared to some of the things that Kirby gets sent to print, you're all good.
Thanks, I appreciate that, Johnny. But for me, just kind of like starting in X shape and just messing around, making a shape, taking it to X design and doing some cutouts, shelling it, putting the wing on it, and seeing again my 5-year-old like look at this like it's normal. Looking at it like he's just like, yeah, this looks good. I see this, and he seems to be processing it like it's just normal life. And go back 10 years ago or whatever, and it would have been totally different. But it's just it's cool. It's definitely something fun to mess around with.
Yep.
And I even had him messing around with apps for kids too. And it's he made like what he called a spaceship, but the point was so sharp. When you said you were sanding parts is what reminded me of it. The point was so sharp on it that when it came off the printer, I was like, dude, I can't let you run around the house with this, because it's like a shank. It's like a deadly,
sounds like my wife.
a deadly weapon. Yeah.
The weapon.
Yeah, so I had to sand it down, but the boat was cool. I really liked the boat. It kind of came out looking like a bird in the front, but we're gonna keep tweaking it and adding.
No, I like the
cool.
wing on the back.
Yeah, he called it a speedboat. He was like, "Oh, it's got to
Yeah.
be flat in the back, and we got to put a wing."
Yeah.
The best way to make it as fast as possible is you paint it red.
Yeah,
Everyone know red is fast.
Red with racing stripes and a little 3D printed nitrous canister in the back.
that's the other cool thing about 3D printing and all this stuff is we did paint it with washable Crayola markers, and it was all good. He took it in the tub, and it instantly was white again. It just completely washed off immediately. So it's cool. Honestly, I love this stuff, and seeing his brain start to, the gears are turning and figure some of this stuff out is cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So,
That's really cool. See, Mike has a question for you guys. Have you ever run a user group before you worked for Dassault?
So my answer, Mike, is no. I never led a user group, but in my immediate area. And Sean and I both really in the Mid-Atlantic region here. Jeff Holliday runs the Mid-Atlantic Independent SolidWorks user group, and we were regulars there. So the reseller that we both worked for was very supportive of Jeff and his group, and we were not only regular presenters, but Jeff would also drop by to like borrow a projector, or in some cases in the older days, I think actually have the meeting at our old reseller office. And that's another good thing too about Pennsylvania here is there's actually a bunch of resellers within, or a bunch of user groups within driving distance. There's Lehigh Valley, Susquehanna Valley. There is Jose's group in New Jersey, right, Sean? The 3D Experience user group.
Yeah, I've been to that one.
Yeah, so there's probably 5 to 6 of them in under 2 hours, under 2-hour drive in any direction. So you really could get to a bunch of them. But no, Mike, that was my answer. That was my long-winded answer. I never ran a group. I guess working for a reseller, we couldn't. We couldn't actually run a group.
Yeah, same here. I guess me on the champion side, it kind of gets into. It's funny. The last time I did travel was to a user group. It's funny we were talking about travel earlier. I think it went to Toronto, was like right before things. It was right before 3D Experience World, and it was like right before things shut down. So I went to go see Chris White and a couple others out there. But no, I never led a user group. Definitely presented a bunch. But yeah, so Kirby was mentioning I run the Champions program, which is a newer program, as well as the SolidWorks Influencer program. So both of those contain a good bit of content creators, and I definitely did a good bit of like video work with SolidWorks stuff. But in terms of user groups specifically, which I know is kind of the area that Dan manages here. No, I never ran one, but definitely presented a bunch, which is always a good time.
Yep.
That might be a good time for Sean to talk about the Champions program, Kirby, eh?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So in the description of the video, I have linked to the Champions program and SWUGN.org. I don't know if Champions has like a cool shortened URL yet, or you gotta work at it. You gotta work to get that.
That's a goal for this year. That's like my big contribution. No, you can go to SolidWorks, solidworks.com/champions, which is basically a redirect to kind of the slightly longer URL. And that gets you right there. Or you can go to solidworks.com/champions-apply. And that will give you a bit of a look at the application, which also contains some of the requirements and the perks and benefits and stuff like that. But yeah, the Champions program is pretty new. And I think it's funny, Mike asked kind of like before we joined DS and kind of how that's a system and how that kind of influenced, I think, the way that or some of the programs that we have here in terms of how we run them or manage them or whatever. And I think it did a pretty big deal for me. Going to user groups and seeing, right? It's like very well, Kirby and Jonny. The people on YouTube like just making tons of cool content and all that stuff. There's just people doing all sorts of different things in the community today that don't always align directly with running a user group. So we made the Champions program to just sort of allow, people that just do a bunch of different great things to kind of build community with each other.
I think a good example of a person like that is Rob Maldonado.
Sure.
Like his content is purely on Instagram. He's not a YouTuber or anything. He does stream and that, but all his content is on Instagram. He was on one of our
first guest.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's just growing so much with what he's making and what he does, and he's making a model every day, and he's been doing it for about a year and a half. But he's not really looking to run a user group.
Sure.
He's there to
promote SolidWorks in a slightly different way, probably.
Yeah, making fun stuff from gears to little bobbleheads or just very random, interesting stuff. So I mean, that's where the Champions program kind of helps out those people as well.
Yeah. That list of things just continues to grow in weird ways. Like back in the 90s, that was not a thing you could do, right? There was no such thing as Instagram.
Right.
And I guess you could like post a CAD model to your website, like if people would go to it and go to see it. But even like just give you guys an example, at the end of last week, somebody Ryan Pretty knows that you guys know Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah.
So somebody that Ryan knows, their brother is like really big on TikTok. I think the channel name is like Layer 1 3D or something. But I have a call with him pretty soon. But it's like 1 million subscribers on TikTok. And you would think, even TikTok is relatively new, definitely in the mainstream, right?
That's where everybody's getting
there yet.
That's where everybody's looking. I mean, my wife, who does social media for a big cinema here, like the past 3 months has been them trying to figure out how can they get on TikTok as well, and kind of share kind of the content that they do, and try and figure it out. It's the new platform. That's what everybody's using, and if you want to promote to the younger generation, that's what you got to go.
It's crazy how quickly that changes, right? Like you can imagine. I remember, so I started college in 2004, graduated 2008, and my freshman year of college was kind of like right when Facebook was becoming a thing, like 2004-ish. And from 2004, it's already almost the old thing, like the old, like, oh, that's like dial-up internet. Like
that's what old, that's what your parents use. That's what old people use.
That's so crazy to think that.
What I find is that all of these social media platforms are quite useful. For all their different need. Like for me, Facebook, that's just where I see what people are doing from back home.
Sure.
Connecting with family and that. Where Instagram was where I just post pictures of Lego and just random junk that I'm doing.
Yep.
Twitter is just a place where I can get news and information as fast as possible.
Yep. And suddenly TikTok is like a combination of so many of those things.
Yeah.
Like kind of just when you think like there couldn't possibly be space for another one. Like there couldn't be space for another mogul, social media platform.
I'm sure there'll be another one in the next couple of years. There'll be something different.
Yeah.
When Facebook buys TikTok eventually, if it hasn't already, then something else will pop up.
Have you guys searched SolidWorks on TikTok?
No.
There's actually some funny
I'll be honest, Sean, I don't have TikTok.
I have it. I don't make them.
No comment.
Do you make do you do all TikTok dances and that?
No,
Sean's all up on like Renegade or something, isn't he?
That was a good song.
Yeah.
Good song by me. No, I basically just use it as like a viewing app. My wife sort of told me that I should make it just to send me stuff. And this is before like that random connection happened with that person I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool. Like out of curiosity, I was just searching. Like I just did a term search on SolidWorks, and people post some pretty funny stuff.
Sure.
Like there was this one woman. She's like in industrial design school, and she was talking about how she can't stand that the preview, like for the feature preview, is that sort of like bright neon yellow color, right? Whenever something like I hate looking at this, like it gives me such like this like, and people just commenting like relating, which you could change the color. No one did say that though. And since I'm in lurk mode on TikTok, I didn't comment either.
Yeah, that's Sean. What you just mentioned is something I've been trying to figure out. Is like if you're cruising Reddit, like I subscribe to the SolidWorks Reddit. Like Reddit's another one we didn't really talk about. Like how Reddit is. Like when I'm cruising the SolidWorks subreddit, and if you're on a Reddit, like Reddit is a collection of all your subreddits, right? So of everything that you kind of subscribe to, and like occasionally there'll be a SolidWorks thing that comes up, and if it's a question I know the answer to, it's like that internal struggle of like, I should answer that. I should tell that person, but I know it'll take me 15 minutes to type it out and make sure I get screenshots and make sure I do it right. And like, and then like Sean, what you just mentioned, like, I'll just move on. I'm just going to let someone else.
Someone else pick it up.
But Rocker says TikTok is the content that the near future designers are looking at now. So
yeah, sure.
You've got to be with it.
Gotta be with it.
Like Toby does a good thing with Reddit, where if he sees a very common question,
right,
or he'll just pick a random question and he'll just do an entire video about it.
And that's like and for me, that internal struggle of like, I think years of doing tech support and like feeling, you almost feel that guilt. Like I know the answer, I have to answer. But if you go down that rabbit hole, that's endless. Like you could be there forever. It's just interesting.
And like. A place like World is quite a lot of fun. Is you get to meet a lot of these kind of people, and now with all these champions being invited to it as well, you get to meet, not just like engineers from SpaceX and NASA, but just like Brad Thompson, who just runs around in a Master Chief suit and just does fun things.
Right.
Oh yeah, Kirby, I wanted to ask you, like, when that helmet that you designed was exploded, like, how did you really feel?
How'd you feel inside?
There's the video, and then like I just wonder, like, what do you actually feel, good, bad, or indifferent? Because, and we should maybe you could show the video or something, because like I just think it's so funny and interesting that he made that video, and that you did such a good job designing it. And
that's the thing is he didn't blow up my CAD. He didn't blow up my computer.
Oh yeah, you can't blow up the CAD. No,
I can always. He didn't delete the file. That would be different.
Yeah,
Didn't
so I
hack your
guess maybe
computer
he
and
didn't
delete the
film up.
file.
That would like be an internal explosion on Kirby.
Yeah,
But-
you'd have to exploit your storage device
Like-
or whatever.
When we were coming up with the ideas for this project, I'm looking for the video now. The idea was, this is like the final conclusion to a project. So it's always the internal struggle of when you're working on a project. You, as a creator, when you're designing something or you're making something, you spend so much time up close with it that you see all the faults and you want to spend endless hours trying to perfect it. But if you're doing what he did, which was blow it up, that's the final, that's the end of the project. There's no more. He can then, you can start looking at moving on to the next project. You don't have to worry about how you could have done better on that helmet because it's gone.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. You don't often get like a finite end to a project like that, right?
Yep.
And if it's blown up, it's actually gone.
It's like it's fully closing the door. There's no going back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the kind of the philosophy for it. Oh, there we go. Johnny's put it up. So this is Brad.
I
He
put
runs
nothing
the
up.
channel Impact Props. Oh, right.
You put it up.
So he does a series called Living with Chief, which is just Master Chief in everyday situations, and with a suit like
Making
that,
destroy.
you've you kind of put yourself in a situation where so many extraordinary things can happen, and that's what makes a lot of fun. Dan's just had to excuse himself. So yeah, Make and Destroy is the new series that he has. So him and I decided to work together to 3D model. You can see I'm very quick in CAD that these things just appear as I'm busy working on it. Some unconventional techniques that I use to actually that he used to make. There's a lot of screaming as usual. But yeah, the entire helmet was designed in SolidWorks, and there's kind of a cheesy, off-the-cuff type of way that Brad makes his videos and that. Yeah. We've all had that moment in SolidWorks.
Dude, was that when it crashed and you hadn't saved?
That never happened. But yeah,
You
made
defeated
this
the
cool
Oracle.
helmet. I made it too big, so he printed it twice. But he goes through his finishing process very roughly. This is definitely not going to be a tutorial on how to finish a helmet. There's other people that do that extremely well. This is more about the entertainment factor. But yeah, eventually took it out to the farm.
I did find it really interesting though from that standpoint though. I mean, I think the whole thing is like, I don't know, it's like there's this shared grief over destroying it because, even though you're a viewer, right? I think this is kind of the conceit.
Boom.
Like, even though you're the viewer, you've still spent how much time watching him like beautify this thing?
Yeah.
Which, however he got there, he did do that. I mean, he paints it super well, like very detailed, and then it just goes away, like for good. And that's
Yeah,
very-
it was. There was a lot of discussion of how we're going to present it, whether we're going to say we're destroying it or whether it's just that just happens at the end and it's a complete shock factor. I know he destroyed a GoPro making this, but kind of for him to test and experiment, he did. And this is part of his Master Chief thing. So no one has to watch adverts that I get.
Yeah, Mike's slating you in the chat, Kirby.
Someone needs to ad
Someone
block
needs
from
that
YouTube.
blocker.
I don't. So yeah, Master Chief basically stole his brand new PS5. And I watched this, I was like, that's fake. That has to be fake.
What, that he's
But
going to
not-
do that to a PS5, you mean? Or
Yeah.
that he had a PS5?
No. That he maybe got like someone else to make like a fake PS5,
Oh, I see.
like a dummy version of that. Because I know the Xbox sent out a lot of dummy versions to influencers and that. But-
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I like how it has. This is probably, in terms of dislike ratio, it's probably the highest. I bet most of the people that disliked the video were just pissed because, like, I mean, this is really hard to get this system, and then he just destroys it.
Yeah, he said that he had to spend a lot of money to get that. But yeah, I think a lot of that hate in this is about, this is something very hard to get, and it gets destroyed. But like Brad, he doesn't want to be another destroy something channel. He's back. He wanted to have something unique. So he wanted to have something unique about what he was creating, and that's where the make side comes to it. People get to watch the amount of hours that go into something.
Yeah.
He's so cheap for YouTube Premium. Brandon, I'm not touching YouTube Premium.
Why not? Why do you say that?
Because he's cheap.
What?
Oh, because you're cheap.
We found out recently, right, Sean, that Kirby just gets everything for free in life. I think that's his.
Yeah, Dan, you're part of the problem. His new webcam, man.
That's true. Sorry, Johnny. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I
haven't got anything free for a while.
What's it been? A couple of days?
No, I haven't. No, I've been hiding a bit.
Dude, you got a 3D printer like a week ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. That should tide you over for a little bit.
Yeah, it's sitting over there. It's a Voxelab Aquila 3D printer.
He's not even using his own channel to just promote. He's bringing it over to our channel now.
Oh, man.
I mean, I could put it on a pedestal like I have with the Voxelab Polaris over there, which is a really good resin 3D printer that's affordable.
Plug.
You just need sellout tattooed backwards across your forehead.
I've actually got a T-shirt that says it across the back.
Yeah, I know. From Game, when you sold out to them. The Game's like the equivalent of GameStop over here. So Kirby sold out to them as well.
GameStop. Such a hot. I actually went into a GameStop on Saturday or last Saturday.
Your shops are open?
Yeah, they're open. Yeah.
Oh, we've been in lockdown since beginning of January. No, beginning of December. We've been shut down.
Like even stores, like you can't go in a store.
Yep, you can go to the equivalent of Walmart, and that's it.
Wow, that's crazy. Pretty much everything at this point is open, at least here in PA, but except for huge venues, obviously, like stadiums and concert venues.
We only get that in June.
Yeah,
that's if we behave.
Yeah,
if we behave.
If we behave. But everything's limited, and obviously, there's restaurants in particular are very different right now. But yeah, I went to a GameStop. We got my son the new Mario 3D World for Nintendo Switch. It's awesome, man. Oh my god!
What kind of Mario game is that?
It's like the newest Mario.
It's a new Super Mario, but there's I don't know how much of it, but I know there's a level that's really high detailed.
Yeah.
As if Super Mario were in the real world.
And it also comes with a little additional Bowser's Fury game tied with it. It's really cool. It's awesome. But he had never been in a GameStop and only knows video games through browsing the menu in Xbox, looking at all the games on Xbox. And
Mike just made me laugh. Sorry.
Yeah,
there's literally no point to go to Las Vegas anymore.
Except Lars shows Brownson's nice, Mike. But surprising him with the fact that there was a whole store dedicated to video games. He was just like, "I'm 5. You just told me about this now. Where's this been?"
That brings me on to another point, Dan. Kirby, how did you get your Nintendo Switch?
Oh, also free.
Not really. I did a project with Sean about making a Switch arcade cabinet thing. And I didn't have a Switch.
And the rest is history.
Well, you're kind of leaving it kind of funny. I mean, what you choose to do with project earnings is always your choice.
Exactly.
That's why we love you, Sean.
Because I had to pay for it, and then I got reimbursed. As part of
that you should plug that, Kirby.
Yeah, you should plug it, Kirby, on our channel.
It's your channel. What else would you do this? I mean, sometimes you should talk about yourselves. I mean, that's okay.
No, we always talk about our guests first, Sean.
Yeah.
I know,
Which
last
also
night-
means we never finish what are you drinking. And I'm sure Sean's got a Starbucks cup on this channel, Kirby.
It
Oh,
looked like
yeah.
Starbucks.
It is.
So
You're bougie, Sean. That's Starbucks.
It's a nice coffee.
did you get that from like a Starbucks drive-through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Must be nice that they're open.
Those don't exist here.
Oh, really?
They do up north.
I didn't know why you're asking me that. I was like, well, where else would I get it? Like my neighbor?
No, we've got to walk into Starbucks to get something like that.
Nah.
But also,
see,
like, there's not only just Starbucks here. You got Costa, you got Pret a Manger.
Yeah.
Kirby,
what
I
else
got
is-
news for you.
Go for it.
Starbucks up north have drive-through.
What?
Yep.
The only thing that has drive-through is McDonald's, and it's great. It's like on my way home. So I may or may not grab a cheeky burger on the way home every day.
Cheeky burger?
Yeah.
Is
It's
this another
You guys-
thing?
You guys add
Yeah.
why to all these things. Like I remember
know.
when last time we were talking to you, Johnny, you were talking about flexi time.
Oh, flexi time. Yeah, I've used that, Johnny, since then.
What, you've been
So
using
the-
flexi time, Dan. I
Because
love
it sounds
Isn't
so
it good?
smooth. It sounds like so
It's
much
so
better.
cool.
Yeah.
I know it's so
It-
cool.
flexi time.
I could just use that.
There's multiple ways that you can use the word cheeky here. So like a cheeky burger on the way home is you just get a little cheeseburger and you quickly before you get
Okay.
home
Okay.
you hide the evidence. It's
Like, yeah, that
Cheeky.
didn't
Then
happen.
there's like
or you
cheeky
can have
pint.
like a
Oh, that's
or,
so
or you
funny.
you can have a cheeky pint where you sneak off for one.
Oh,
Oh, man. I
or,
gotta
or you can get like
there
a
we
cheeky
go.
Nando's, and that's a Nando's that just bites, just ever so slightly. You know, a little bit of spice in your chicken. if you want
Okay,
something
so
that's
cheeky is like a multifaceted word.
yeah, it's like an adjective over here.
Okay. That's
Urban
interesting.
Dictionary.
I mean, speaking of chili, Johnny, if you would you be willing to participate in eating a really hot chili on stream at some point?
Ooh, like Hot Ones? You guys ever watch Hot Ones?
Like, yeah, something like that. But like, instead of like stepping up, just start at the top.
Start at the top and work down. That's how we do it here.
I just got a good idea. So we should do CAD modeling while eating hot
Dying.
things. You have to model a part while ramping up in temperature.
We
Nice.
can get Toby involved in this,
Right.
because Toby can
Yep.
set up a nice challenge. I feel like ideas are forming.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that idea. I would participate in something like that. That boat took me at least 3 minutes to model. I mean, I could do that while eating some really hot stuff.
Nice. Maybe
Like-
when these two come over, Kirby, we can go for a cheeky Nando's and then have
Use
a
our
chili
flexi
eating
time.
competition. Use some flexi.
Use your flexi time too.
I'm gonna
Make
use
it
our
all
flexi
happen.
time, Sean, when we go over there.
Yeah, I gotta use my phone.
I'm trying to find this Nintendo Switch arcade box. That
What are you drinking, Johnny? Is that Stella?
Yeah, it's Stella today. We're not very fancy. We're just
Stella?
just cruising through the.
This is a local session. It's called Life Coach.
Life.
Nice.
Oh,
Really
Life
nice
Coach.
little light
I had
light.
Life Coach
I'm
yesterday.
drinking just the usual Jack Daniel's whiskey.
Are they
Coca-Cola.
sponsoring you yet, Kirby?
Oh man,
They sent us stuff.
man.
We haven't given that away.
Yeah, we still got to give that away. I'm in conversations with Jack Daniels, because you have to.
Yep.
I can.
Sean, what did you get then? Just iced coffee? No syrups? No.
No, I just got
Black.
iced coffee. This plain. Yeah. It's so funny. Like I don't know if you guys are the same, but whenever we go to Starbucks, like my order is always just cold brew black, iced coffee black,
Mhm.
whatever.
I do like cold brew.
I literally have to pull out my phone and like look at a note with my wife's order.
Yeah.
It's
Was
like,
it like-
4 lines.
Iced vanilla latte, decaf, soy milk with an extra shot of this, and this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like in the middle of ordering it. I'm like, are you still listening? Like, are you still there?
Have you switched off? Is your shift finished?
Yeah, like it's so weird.
I don't even drink coffee during the day.
Oh my gosh. I might as well hook up an IV. I just have a constant
Drip
intake.
feed.
Yeah, of all. I could slug a cup of it and then just go right to bed. It has no effect on me.
Yeah, that's like me.
Yeah, whatsoever. I really should.
I'll have a cup with breakfast on Sundays, or I'll have a cup if I'm extremely hungover. But other than that, like, I jump out of bed. I'm happy. I'm one of those guys in the morning.
Yeah, I'm up. I like getting up
Toby.
early, but you know.
Toby,
Welcome,
we
Toby.
were just talking about you.
Toby's here.
He's hanging out in the chat.
I thought he was here. I was looking around in one of these boxes.
Toby.
I thought he was going to pop in. Hey, Toby.
Missed the opening. All right, so Toby,
I'll say hi.
we've been chatting about doing some sort of like CAD tournament. We could call it a tournament because.
Oh yeah, tell him the idea, Kirby. Let's make this happen.
Let's do a quick elevator pitch.
But basically, we eat really extremely hot chilies and then we model something in CAD.
Or wings.
While we die.
I mean, it should be wings, but I would do chili.
Oh, wings, man. Wings would be good. Kirby, there's a great wings place in Newcastle. We got to take these two to it.
So there's one here by me as well, which is called Randy's Wing Bar, which do like awesome wings, which is right next to an arcade called Four Quarters, where you use American quarters to play video games and arcade machines.
Oh, these two can come prepped.
I was gonna say, how does that work? Do you just have to have like a bank of American quarters?
No, you go to the bar, you give them £1, and they'll give you 4 quarters.
Okay.
I was going to say, what's the exchange rate in this place? Is it like Bank of England or?
So it's quite fun, and then they do cool like pizzas and they do cool cocktails and beers and stuff, and it's right in the canal, right by the Olympic Park. Toby's ready.
That's the best time. Like, yeah, dude, we should have like a live. I mean, that would be such a fun thing. I can't recall that, doing like a live modeling competition or anything like that, in person.
Scoville Works challenge.
Yes, exactly. Scoville Works. Oh, see, this is where ideas are born. This is where things happen.
Yeah, we come up with some daft ones as well, Dan. You just hit us on a lucky day.
Toby, if you're still listening, I think maybe even for Toby's competition, this could just be the final round. Whoever like the final round is, they have to first eat like 3 really hot wings or something before they start.
Maybe I'll hit up Hot Ones.
Yeah,
they can send us some sauce.
Dude, that's genius. That's awesome.
Yeah, why don't you sell out to another company, Kirby? Nice.
But if you don't know what Scoville is, that's the measure that hot stuff is measured in. And I know the California Reaper or something is ridiculous. Let's find this Scoville.
I love Mike's comment. That's brilliant, Mike. Hang on. Model Mania, turn up the heat.
Turn up the heat edition. Yes, that's perfect.
Oh yes, because he does the Model Mania stuff. Yes.
He says, for this final round, we're gonna spice it up. That's awesome.
So yeah, pepperoni. What? There we go. A pepperoni is at 100 to 500 on the Scoville scale. Where your Carolina Reaper is between 1.4 million and 2.2 million. Jalapeno's 2,500 to 8,000, and your Carolina Reaper is 1.4 million on the Scoville level. Okay, guys, for the final round, we're going to spice it up. Yes,
I love it.
Nice.
There's a really dirty chicken place in London. It's called Morley's.
Dirty?
Like really cheap.
I mean, it sounds really good.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Dirty is in dirty good, or dirty is in like this 1-star hygiene
cheeky.
rating?
Is it cheeky? Like a cheeky, dirty?
Both.
Cheeky chicken place.
Okay.
It's the kind of place that you wouldn't step foot in, like at first glance, but then you start to, you try it once and you're addicted. I don't know if it's like the cocaine or the drugs they put in it, but you're hooked. But they do really good wings, and for some reason they're like twice the size of normal wings, so I don't even think it's chicken.
Is that
still
word
incredible?
Is that word cheeky used in the name of any like cheeky chicken, or like do any places actually use that in the title of their establishment?
Nowhere that's really popular.
Okay.
You might get like your dodgy back alley takeaway, but
Is that the name of it? Dodgy Back Alley Takeaway? We could name it that.
There was this place that I'm talking about is called Morley's, and their slogan for one point was "It tastes."
That's it.
That's it. It tastes.
It tastes like something. Yeah.
There was a guy down south. Did you hear about it, Kirby? So Nando's over here is like a really big popular chicken chain restaurant sort of shop thing. There was a guy called his takeaway Fernando's and just tried to get away with it for months and months, and then they ended up suing him and he had to change
the guy
it.
sued? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a picture of. So Morley's obviously like uses Fiverr to get their menus photoshopped.
Yeah. While Kirby's hunting, another question we've had. The most reoccurring question I get in my networks talking about Latin America: will there ever be a 3D experience world outside of the US?
Never say never, right? There actually are offshoot. I believe in Japan, at least there is one.
Right.
So it's not the biggest one is typically in the US. You can never say never as far as like the future. Next year, 2022 will be in Atlanta, so definitely not next year as far as that main one. But the cool thing is I can say with 3D Experience World, this past year it was everywhere, right? It was virtual. And the consensus was that, even though we all love, like Dan said, and you guys feel the same, right? It's like you love being in person and all that. You did get to sort of expose more of the show and more of the content and learnings to just more people. There were like a little under 40,000 people registered. Which in person, like you're getting like 5, 6, 7,000, right?
Yep.
At the main one. So the success of this year's will definitely sort of have an influence on future events. Like whether that means like the whole thing being hybrid or a lot of it, that kind of remains to be seen. But it's definitely, I can say, definitely being discussed for sure.
I mean, like we have a similar thing here in Europe is to travel to the States and to get a hotel and get time off for that conference. It's kind of difficult to get your company to pay for it if you're on your own. Mm-hmm. So having one in, for example, Germany, which is kind of the center of Europe in terms of distance for everybody to get to, have it there, and you'll get so many people that have never been to World. And through the discussions I've had with this, the biggest problem with doing a convention like to that scale this side is paying for all of the Dassault staff to go there, because most of the SolidWorks staff is in the States. It's a lot to kind of figure out, but it is something that could be useful.
One
I
thing.
Think that it could be that the next World, certain portions of it will be done the same way last year has, where some of it can be accessed from home, hopefully.
Yeah, one thing I'd really love to see in the future, and again, there's no plans to do this right now and nothing at the moment, but I remember with our local user groups, the SWUGN summits, the user group summits that used to take place. And at the time, and this is probably 5 years ago, last time I attended one, but at the time they were kind of referred to as mini SolidWorks worlds, like mini world events, because there was a day or maybe 2 days of continuous technical presentations and almost like a general session, and everybody had lunch together, and it kind of felt like a mini world. I would love at some point, Kirby and Jonny, really to have like regional events like that. Maybe not as many, but large. If we get to the point where we can have larger regional events, that would be really cool.
I mean, that could be something held somewhere, maybe Birmingham or Cambridge, where the SolidWorks offices are.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
And like that could be enough distance for people to kind of congregate. And that I'm going to show you this picture.
Dude, that picture looks vile.
Just notice the peas.
Dude, look at Sean's expression.
Are the P's upside down?
I think it's one of them, like, is that really bad Photoshop, or
Yeah.
are the P's
The bad thing is that
gone?
like the chips are neutral. This is clearly one side, and the P's is the other side.
Yeah.
That's what makes it worse. Is that it just throws you off.
Man, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Sean.
That's disgusting.
Man, we'll take you to some nice places. We'll not let Kirby choose.
No, but like you said, Johnny, like the P's are so weird. It looks like the pixels are just warped. Like it looks like everything got slid down. Like,
Did they like forget to put P's on the plate and they've taken that off another image or something?
Definitely.
Probably.
That's definitely what happened there. And I think
So
they're upside
weird.
down for some reason.
Yeah.
It's just always great.
That picture, I can't look at it anymore. That picture is hurting me.
Yeah, Kirby, get rid of it, please.
take it away.
Maybe I can find some nice Nando's. And then
Those
that
those
could-
summits though, I don't know if anyone that's been here. I think Mike just mentioned the summit in the chat. Like he
Yep.
mentioned a chance encounter at a 2005 one, but they were so cool. Like I remember back in like near us in Philly, you know, we'd have one, and then you know there'd be like room A and room B, and so you'd have presentations in one of two rooms you can go into. So you didn't have like, you know, it wasn't hundreds of sessions or anything near it, but like pretty much everything going on was just like kind of, you know, like regionally it was like the best of the best.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah,
I would love to see something like that again.
I mean, like I was saying earlier on, just kind of the amount of people I've networked with and the amount of people I've met and the amount of people I now know in the SolidWorks world came down to my first time going to one of these events back in, I think it's 2016 in Boston, and going to all the other ones and just continuously meeting people.
Yep.
And these networks allow you to do that. And the Champions program just puts you in a room with people that you would see online and that, but not if properly involved in a user group.
It's funny how you can trace, you know, your career. You can trace things back to a single chance encounter.
Yep.
For me, I was in college, and the owners of the reseller that I worked for, and actually Sean worked for as well, had also attended that college. They were alumni, and Temple University in Philadelphia. And the owners came in to do a presentation for the engineering school, just like, hey, this is what we do. We're alumni. We've moved on and started this business. But at that point, for me, it was like, I don't even know what a reseller is. Like I think as an engineering student, sometimes you think like, I'm just going to get in and design parts. That's it. That's all there is. But then you find out all these other things you can do with an engineering degree, like in this case, selling and supporting engineering software. And for me, just seeing that one presentation, here I am, you know, all these years later. So it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's one thing that was quite interesting was when you started off doing the user group stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
your name was first mentioned. It's like Dan Wagner's going to be launching the whole thing. We'll be taking over, and that. A lot of people were like, "Who?"
Sure. Yeah.
They'd heard your name, but they'd never really known of you. And I think
Sure.
what was really interesting about that is it was better than taking someone that already kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Rather put someone in that didn't really know everybody and didn't know how everything was, because you're going to
Sure.
bring new ideas and different ideas versus the ideas that, you know, someone that already had been doing user group stuff for years already would have.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree, Kirby. And I think that's actually a really interesting concept that happens even inside of a company, where it's if a company decides if they have a position or an opening, you either hire from within or you promote from within, or you bring in somebody from the outside, you interview and bring in new people. And you definitely have advantages and disadvantages in both scenarios, right? But
Yes.
there's a lot to be gained with bringing in new perspective and new people. And this, you know, you said a moment ago, which was funny. I thought you said SolidWorks world in quotations, like your SolidWorks world, which I thought is kind of an interesting, you're referring to like your SolidWorks community, right? Or like
Yeah.
the people around you. And I think as a SolidWorks user, you can get in, you can kind of get in that bubble where the people immediately around you who use the software, what they model, who they work with, and then joining something like SWUGN or joining the Champions program or hanging out with you guys, right? Whatever, just doing something else suddenly exposes you to all these other things and all these other pockets. So yeah, that's the power of these programs.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we trying to build as a platform here, as a place where people that doing interesting stuff could jump on here, talk about what they're doing, and
right.
Someone like Toby is in there, who or whoever's in there has never really seen that kind of way of thinking and that way of designing, and kind of change their perspective or kind of inspire them to do something else.
Right.
One of the most interesting, I went to one of Eric Beatty's user group meetings in Seattle, and one of the people I was helping him arrange the meeting, because I knew 3D printing nerd Joel Telling, and because it's both in Seattle, I thought let's try and put this together.
That's cool. So you went to Seattle?
Yeah, so Rachel sent me out to
nice.
Seattle.
That's awesome.
To go and help that out. And basically in a room you've got a big 3D printing YouTuber. Eric organized Sophie Wong to come, and she does a lot of cosplay stuff, and she was one of the safety inspectors on Mythbusters Junior.
Oh, wow.
So she doesn't touch SolidWorks. She uses the F word. Well, it's my platform. She uses Fusion.
It's my platform.
You say whatever you want. It's your space, man.
She uses Fusion 360, but
I heard it too, Johnny.
The thinking behind it is exactly the same. So she does a lot of like costumes, and what she would do is she would basically make a suit out of duct tape that she would tape to herself and then cut it off, and then she would create her patterns. From those patterns, she can then take a picture of them, scan them into the software, and then trace the outline of them, and then she can introduce that into her laser cutter and actually laser cut the foam. So this is a way of taking very organic shapes and creating a flat pattern and actually using CAD software to make them engineered parts. And behind me there was an engineer, he does aeronautical engineering and that stuff. Blown away by what Sophie was showing. He was audibly going, wow. He was blown away what this person who's learned how to design and make in her own time, and versus someone who's been taught it traditionally, just showing all these new techniques to use the software. And like I said, she was using Fusion, but the same kind of ideology and methodology can be transferred over into any CAD software.
That's the thing. Like, it's crazy. I remember, Kirby, when you did that, just like such in the same meeting, which I wish I would have been able to be there. But like, we can do so much more of that stuff now. We kind of like, you mentioned like with the Champions program and like all the crazy talented people there, and the influencer program, and just how like Dan and I talk about every day, and I know we all just talk about it, how much more globalized things are, and how much more connected they are. You can have, like, we joked about TikTok earlier, but you can have like people that are doing content creation on these different platforms, whether it's Instagram, and you could just say like, okay, I want to have like in this large metro area once a year, this sort of like maker, or not even maker specific, but just some like really interesting, like super rich, event that isn't just, talking about CAD necessarily, but has some really interesting characters that could jump in, and maybe you have like 2 or 3 headliner people, and they're just different, and you just have people in a room that when they typically talk to each other or learn the same things together. So like that could definitely be duplicated. Like, you guys definitely sort of brought out this like template of sorts that should definitely be reutilized, because it sounded insane.
Yeah, and actually, Kirby, I want to give you a shout out too. You presented for Star City SWUG right this past week for Brad, and I caught up with Brad on Friday. I talked to him on Friday afternoon, and I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag here, but he said that was one of your first presentations of to another group besides yourself, I guess, besides your group.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? It was awesome. Like I couldn't believe that was your first, man. That was really awesome.
Like the way that I've always led my user group is I've always kind of isolated myself from it. It's about the people that I'm presenting and that. Like,
Sure.
I don't plug my podcast. I don't plug what I do and that stuff. So I haven't I really haven't had a topic to talk about. And it was during World when I was chatting to him, and he was saying, "So I'm doing a meeting soon. Do you have any presentations?" I'm like, "I've got nothing really interesting to present." It's like, "Oh, you do a lot of 3D printing and that." So I'm like, "Yeah." It says you're presenting on 3D printing on this date, and he kind of just, I was like, "Okay, cool," and that got me on my feet. That got me to make it, and like him doing that, and also watching how he runs his user group by, the way I would set up a meeting is I would make sure I have everything in line, the people I want to present, the date, the venue, all of that in line. Where he just puts the date up there and said, I've got to work to that target.
Sure.
And I think if you're just putting on a date there, you're kind of forcing yourself. It's like, I've promised these people something, I've got to deliver something.
Yep.
Versus like, oh, I don't have anything yet, I'm not going to tell them, and try and hide behind it. Hey, Eric, how are you doing? We're just talking about you.
Right.
We should talk about everybody, and they'll end up showing up.
I know, they just appear. It's like magic.
Who else can we talk about, Kirby? Get these views up.
So, I mean, one of the interesting things, too, in talking to him, and this is what I was talking to him on Friday about, is he promotes a lot of other things on his Meetup page. So, for anybody who runs a group, you hopefully list and host that group on meetup.com. And he lists like robotics events. He lists other things he's getting involved in instead of just his group, because we reimburse and we cover the expense of having Meetup. And it's like, why not use it for other stuff? Why not list your podcast, like list other things, that you're doing if you have the opportunity to. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's and I don't know if I sent you an email today about it, but I found a group in Cambridge where the SolidWorks offices are. Well, it's not really a group; it's a makerspace, and they've just started doing monthly SolidWorks meetings.
That's interesting.
Teaching people how to design in SolidWorks, and they are a makerspace supported by SolidWorks as well. Because when I look at their, I'm just trying to find the email now.
Oh, I see it now. So
yeah,
it does monthly CAD meetups.
Yeah, it's I'm
Make
just trying to find
space.
the actual. Yeah, the makers, and they do what? Yeah, it's called the CAD Club.
Wow, what a great URL too. Meetup.com/makespace.
That's
That's I'll put it in our chat here, Kirby, just so.
Yeah, there we go.
But that's an awesome URL. It's great.
So they obviously do SolidWorks stuff, but they've got 3,500 members, and they're doing something almost every night, like a jewelry club.
CAD club.
Yeah, bringing biological and medical innovations to market. So they do a lot of interesting stuff. So, I'm sure all around the world there's a lot of little places like this that are doing that have no clue about the user group network or the Champions program.
Right.
Right. So I mean, being able to get hold of these people and be like, look, there's a whole program that can help support what you do.
Yeah.
Homebrew Space Club. So like, homemade space rockets. They've got a whole meetup about that.
That was something else too in that meeting you did with Brad. Is there was a couple people who just stumbled in from Meetup that knew nothing about SolidWorks or user groups, but 3D printing is such like a tag word, right, or a keyword that they kind of stumbled into your presentation, and that's just by chance, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. You should be very concerned, Eric.
That stuff is going to
be. We're talking about Sophie Wong and Joel Telling at the meeting that I came through for.
That stuff's going to continue to matter more too. Like I feel like in the past, just through now, really, a story about a chance interaction with someone sort of outside of like our core industries, they wouldn't. I mean, they would be cool, and they would be noteworthy, I guess, but mostly they would be inconsequential, right? Because like SolidWorks was pretty much a commercial product, like for most people. Like you were working in industry, making physical goods, totally commercially, right? Now with this like new maker version that's coming out, like this could actually be something where, like you said, Kirby, if you're kind of a casual jewelry maker, and let's say you just kind of stumbled into a user group meeting, you're not looking down the pipe of like having to spend thousands of dollars on the design software to start to use that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's now going to be an option, which I think should really open doors for that kind of thing.
In that maker space, there's they offer a link saying if you join and become an actual part of this maker space, you can get a copy of a SolidWorks educational license.
Yeah.
With the URL, and they register it all for you, and then you can follow along on their CAD tutorials and that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool we've been able to support maker spaces, but I think this stuff's just going to get so like so much more intertwined. We're already kind of seeing that, I think, here.
It's something I know where Sean and I have talked about this a lot. Just the idea of getting to travel and getting to actually physically see people and set up these interesting events. And I kind of sent this earlier, but I think there's so much pent up demand for that, of like getting out. And like, I had no idea you did that meeting, Kirby, with Eric. That sounds awesome. Like doing things like that.
It was, I think, 2 years ago now.
Okay.
We did that. And that was an idea that stemmed from SolidWorks World in Dallas. When 3D Printing Nerd was on the stage and that stuff. And I went up to Eric. It's like, look, I know him personally, and I can put you two in contact. Maybe you can arrange a meeting.
Right.
And Rachel, she had ears everywhere. I've somehow found out about this and said, let's make this happen. And it was quite exciting. It was quite an interesting meeting. I was in Seattle for almost as much time as I was in Philadelphia, but it was fun.
What was it there? There and back in 2 days.
Yeah, I flew in, I think, on a Thursday, and I flew back on Sunday. I landed Thursday morning, and I flew out Saturday morning.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot, man, for flying. What was your flight path like? Did you have any other stops in?
No, it was direct, luckily.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a good 9-hour flight there.
Yeah.
Did my meeting, hung out, and then spent the day in the city, and then the afternoon with Joel. And then the next morning, while I waited for my flight, I went to the Aerospace Museum.
Wow.
Which was quite fun.
Shout out to Eric's group, too. He has his 25th anniversary coming up next month. And Eric's group is the longest running group here in the network. So
yes, he's OG. He's the original.
He's the guy, right? So
got to get him on the Hangout, Kirby. Really, we have to.
But shout out to him if anybody wants to attend that. That should be. He's got GP coming. He's got a really cool presentation lined up with like a walk down memory lane of showing a demo of SolidWorks 95, I think, and then stepping forward from there. So it should be pretty cool.
Dan, did you say
when
GP
is this meeting? I'm just going to check the date.
Yeah, GP is demoing. So no. Yeah, it'd be fun.
You know what? I've got a good idea here, Johnny.
Yep.
In 2 weeks' time is our next episode. That's 2 or 3 days before Eric's big meeting. Let's get Eric on. You down for that, Eric?
That sounds like an awesome idea.
We can chat more about user group networks and what you do there.
Yep, push it out a bit more. And then I got to pull my finger out because everyone keeps first meeting.
Oh, he's losing on his dodgy internet.
Which one, me?
I see you got rid of your posters.
I was going to say the wall looks a little,
man. Where's
a little
the
more
Beatles
bland than
poster?
usual.
Don't forget the Strokes.
I like the Beatles. So
I've got the tough decision to figure out what Lego sets stay and which go because I bought more Lego.
Well, Kirby, if you need to get rid of that Falcon and free up some room, feel free to post it to me.
It's going straight into the attic. So I bought a Mandalorian set just so that I can have the Baby Yoda figure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
My wife wasn't too pleased with that one, but actually no, that I used my voucher that you got me, Dan, for that.
Oh, good. So you got
Yeah.
that. Thank you, Kirby.
Yes, I was allowed that one. The other one I wasn't too much
More
allowed.
free stuff.
More free stuff. That's the best when you get an Amazon gift card or you get some kind of gift card and it's just like, it just goes right in there and you can use it immediately and it's up to your discretion, right? It's off the radar, as they say, off the radar.
Boom. That's our next episode plan, Johnny.
Eric's
How is
in.
it? This is probably the most
Dude.
organized we've been for a meeting for an episode ever.
Yeah.
Where we're
Maybe
planning
even
it.
all of our guests will turn up on time, which hasn't happened in the last month and a half either.
Sorry, guys.
No, you two weren't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was
Yeah,
like 6 minutes late.
Eric's meeting's on April 6th. I've posted a link there
Yeah, I've
if
just
anyone
signed up
wants to
for
attend.
a notification before he
I'll
starts.
have to see if
so
I'm
I'll be
able
there.
to attend because it's 3:30 p.m. your time. Ooh, that's a bit
Kirby,
My cat's
Flexi time.
screaming at me.
flexi time.
Flexi time.
How is Jeff going to do the demo of SolidWorks 95?
Eric said, and Eric in the chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Eric said he has an old Dell M70, I think, or M90 with XP on it that he's going to fire up an old version of SolidWorks.
Oh, it's at
I could be wrong, but
10 o'clock our time, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Well, they had. Do you guys remember? I think this was. When was this? I think. What year was it? Was it in? I think it was 2018. SolidWorks World 2018. So that was LA, I think, or was that? Or was that Dallas? I forget.
Yeah, 2017 and 2018 was LA.
Yeah. So 2018, we had like a couple machines with like really really old versions of SolidWorks on them. I don't know if you guys remember that. But like we just had them there just as like sort of like an attraction, like where you could go up and just sort of like make a shape real quick. But so I guess it's proof that it seems like it can activate. But yeah, this is probably one of the things I'm most curious about for this meeting. For
it can be
sure.
fun. I
All
can't
the
wait
cool
to
stuff
see
that's
that.
going on. That caught my eye. I was like, oh, 95. Wow.
Yeah, and he's having GP on to talk about like the next 25 years, so like what's in store for the future. So it should be cool. I'm pumped for that.
That'd be good fun.
Yeah.
But no, I think we've definitely got to get you two guys over at the UK at some point and have a little tour around.
Looking forward to that, man. I think that's one of those things I think specifically about my role, specifically about what I'm doing here. That's a key component of it is getting out and seeing people and meeting face to face. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
Rachel was about to do that right before the pandemic and she had to
Right.
cancel it all. So it'll be good to.
Definitely. I think me and Kirby take a week off work, have a nice road trip around the UK.
Flexi time.
Flexi time. So I think
might
this is a
even
good
put
place to kind of wrap it all up, I reckon.
Can we
Yeah.
can we at least name the whatever it is when Sean and I come over? Can we just name it that Flexi time? Like maybe we'll do a podcast or a live stream or something.
Flexi
Flexi
time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The week episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm down with that. It makes me laugh. It
Yeah.
makes me smile every time.
It's one of my
You two
favorite.
love it.
You guys are great.
You're just jealous.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
No,
I don't get
I'm
use
not
words
being
like that.
sarcastic.
I know.
You just talk. Yeah, the words that you guys use are just way better than mine.
Excellent.
Nice.
I think it's been a good chat here, gents.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
I really appreciate you coming out, joining us. Hopefully, next time you're on, we can do it in person in my bar in my backyard, or in Johnny's bar, or in both.
In both.
Both.
Heck yeah, whatever works, man. I'm down with it.
So where can people find you socially? I know, Sean, you disappeared for a while on social.
Yeah, just took a little break. You can find me on LinkedIn though. If you just search Sean O'Neill, that's probably the easiest way to find me. Feel free to shoot a connection request. Be glad to hear from you guys there. But no, that's probably the easiest way for me.
Same for me. LinkedIn's the best. But if you hack, we'll just say hack the DS, the Deso email format. I'm Dan.Wagner at 3ds.com. So
Dude,
if you can
that's
hack
true.
that, you can figure out Sean's or anybody else's. But
The links to the programs, the SWUGN Network and the Champions program are down below as well. If people want to go and check it out, see what it's about, maybe take part in it and sign up for it. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm going to do the socials for us now, and I usually mess this up.
Every time.
Full focus. I can't use our normal format because now it's a bit awkward.
Oh, look
So
at that. That looks good. Oh, there you
Hang
go.
on, I'll peer down.
There we go.
My name's if you want to catch me on social media, I'm KJ Designs at KJ Designs 365.
Dude, you usually get a little further than that. I'm at Kessel Run Creations on everything apart from Twitter.
On Instagram, we are at the Core Podcast.contact. On Facebook, we are the Core Podcast with the O is a 0. On Twitter, we are the _Core Podcast. And YouTube and Twitch, we are the Core Podcast, which we actually have we now have a custom URL.
That's some dynamic branding, guys. You got
we chose the name first and then figured out the links.
Oh, God. Toby says this is his favorite part when Kirby tries to do the socials.
That's why Toby only comes to the end.
Yeah.
You guys at some point should do a cut together of all the times Kirby has done that. Maybe
We haven't
every
got the
time.
amount that. There's not enough time in the world.
No, it's been good fun hanging with you tonight, gents. I really hope we can do this again soon.
Absolutely.
Man.
IRL. Hopefully it's before World. If not, we'll definitely hang out during World.
Yes.
In our next episode, we're going to be having the good old Eric Beatty across chatting about more user group stuff.
Awesome.
It's been great. And thank you for everybody for joining us tonight. It's been quite lively. It's been good fun. Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
Thank you too
Bye.
as well.
See you guys. Thank you.
Bye.